In this video, we're going to show you 7 habits to reignite your joy, your happiness, and your purpose, and do it quickly.
Okay, so when we first retired, we failed miserably. We landed in a place of freedom, and we had so much freedom, we didn't know what to do with each other. We didn't even know how to talk to each other anymore. We gained weight. We drank too much. We traveled, which was fun. Our marriage started to fail. We started to look awful. We weren't going to the gym. We got tired and lazy, ended up watching too much TV.
I really think it sums up that we were kind of just lost and bored, right? I mean, when you're lost and bored, you just bring in bad habits, and we did all of that.
And you know, it's funny. At the time when we were living it, this is the thing that's strange. At that time, we thought that was normal. We thought it was okay to gain weight in retirement. My parents did.
Right.
We thought it was okay to have a hangover every day because my parents did. We thought it was okay to do nothing a lot because that's what my parents did. They watch TV a lot during the day. We know a lot of people that just relax and do that. We thought that was normal. And I thank God that we pivoted and realized it wasn't working for us because we found it unsustainable. And we knew we were in trouble.
We definitely knew we were in trouble. We looked like we were in trouble. We acted like we were in trouble. We talked to each other like we were in trouble. We were in trouble. So then we started one by one to kind of peel back some core things in our life that we really wanted to focus on. And we think you can do the same.
Yeah, we started going to the gym. And that was hard. Really hard for me because I'm not an athlete. You're an athlete. You were Division III. No, what is it? What is it?
See?
You were?
How well does Mark know Jody? This will be a good interview.
Jody was an All-American field hockey. No, it's a joke.
Not even close.
All-American lacrosse player in college and high school. Is it high school or college?
College. My brother was a high school All-American.
So
I never got that.
Jody was an athlete. Going to the gym for her was easy. Going to the gym for me was like, I don't even know what to do. I could walk on a treadmill because anybody can do that. But oh God, 7 years later, I love the gym. I love the weights. I love pushing myself. I like everything about it. But it took a long time.
But that just is one example of really new mindset, new habits, new routines, new us.
Right.
New ways to communicate, new kind of everything, which the concept of new is often scary. And we definitely get that. And we really built this channel to help people kind of demystify the concept of trying things new.
So the first habit that might sound counterintuitive is schedule boredom. So like boredom, what's that? Schedule alone time, schedule quiet time, schedule...
I think the title is misleading.
Well,
boredom. You don't really schedule boredom. Schedule thinking time. Schedule.
Well, here's
the
thing.
Is it?
Well, all right. Schedule boredom. I don't actually schedule boredom.
Right.
I schedule quiet time. But what happens in my quiet time? I can either get bored, or I pivot, and I use that time to create, to think, to write, to call a friend. So when you schedule that time, a half an hour a day, you open up space to do the things that you really need to do to make you feel alive again.
Yeah.
Is that...
That's better because I think, like whenever I think of boredom, my mom used to say to my kids, if you're bored, you're unimaginative. Like that was her equation. Right. Boredom equals you have no imagination. Right. So I don't think anyone would schedule time to be unimaginative, right? So it's really schedule your time, schedule peaceful time, schedule thinking time, creative time, nature time, walking time, whatever it is, alone time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Time.
Maybe it's
watch
schedule
the sun
alone
come
time.
Up. Sit down and write a little bit.
Yeah.
I schedule.
I think that one could expand.
Yeah, we could do a whole video on that because I spend a lot of time in that quiet space writing and thinking and journaling and calling friends and, thinking about my brother who passed away a couple of years ago and, all sorts of things. So, yeah, schedule boredom.
The next one is pretty self-explanatory. Start and end every day without screens. Without screens of any kind, without your phone, without your iPad, without scrolling, without looking, without TikTok, without Instagram, without Jody and Mark, without Retirement Transformed.
Well, hold on.
No.
They can go to bed watching our videos.
No. That is screen time. So really carve your mornings and your late evenings out for quiet time, reflective time, prayer time, if you're religious of any kind. So that your mind isn't constantly being stimulated by external sources. It's time to quiet your mind. You know, I had a conversation, and I mentioned this in one of our other videos, with a good friend of mine from South America who said it's their practice in their country to schedule time every night before bed to think about the most positive things that you want to happen for tomorrow, because then while you're asleep, your brain spends time working on that for you. And I think that's just can only happen if you do it without screens.
You know, there's science behind it. There's a lot of research that shows the blue light from your screens creates problems for you. So
yeah, it decreases your melatonin.
Yeah, melatonin at night. So maybe at night, try this. If you're alone, just think of 3 micro moments from today that were big wins for you. Little things you did. Like, I feel really good that I did this. I called my sister. I scheduled some boredom time and I created a new script. 3, whatever it might be, but do that. If you're in a relationship like ours, share it with each other before you go to bed, and spend maybe 15 minutes unpacking the day. So, the third thing to think about doing, a good habit that we have, is really to reflect and then perfect. So, what's going well right now in our marriage? Where do we need to do some work? And that would be another 2-hour video, I suppose, if we wanted to, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are the areas we need to work on?
Well,
there's 30. There's a list of 30. No, I think it's really important to make that part of your life. It's a good habit to say, you know, how was yesterday? How can I make today better? How was today? What can I do tomorrow to make my life better? Or relationships. And, you know, we have our 7 pillars: physical relationships, our marriage. I think it's good to work on stuff in your life.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that if you say it out loud or write it down, or you have a little bit of a plan and either you hit the plan or you don't hit the plan, like, for example, I want to get better at golf. In order to do that, I have to get over and just hit golf balls. And oftentimes I have the best intention to do it, but I let things get in the way. And then by the end of the day, I kind of beat myself up before I go to bed, instead of reflecting on all the things that I did do well. And then how do I perfect tomorrow to make sure I do the things that I really want to do? The next one is really replacing this idea of exercise with movement minutes. How many minutes during the day are you moving? There are a lot of ways to track that, whether it's a Fitbit, a Whoop, an Oura Ring, your Apple Watch, your Apple phone. There's a lot of ways to track your movement these days, and really trying to find movement minutes as opposed to exercise time might be a way to convince yourself to do more.
Yeah, we're filming videos today. We're on our 3rd video. The first 2 took about an hour, and then we decided to take a little break, 15-minute break. We walked a little bit, went outside, got some fresh air, got some sunlight, came back in, and now we're going to film 2 more. So because we have a dog, we walk her a lot, probably more than most people walk their dog, but we get something out of that too, to constantly move. Schedule a daily growth session. So I could have growth sessions with Jody like every hour on the hour for 10 minutes. I love to talk about how can we grow, how can we change, what can we do more. Jody claims I'm a big talker, and I never want to say you're a big talker because I think that would hurt you, but it's okay when you say it about me, because you don't ever come back from golf and have to have 15 stories to tell me, right?
So many fun stories.
Yep. Okay, so growth session. Watch a documentary together. Read a new book together. Learn a new tool for our YouTube channel together.
Or a new language, or, join a class at the local community college or the senior center. Just find some way that you're still growing, developing, learning. You have a lot of years ahead of you, and there's a lot of time for growth and development.
We have 6 kids, 3 sons, 3 daughters. We're a modern-day Brady Bunch, but we don't have Alice to cook dinners. So we do all the cooking, and we like to cook. And we like to try new recipes. And you're really good at this, experimenting. I'm kind of stuck in my old ways. I'll grab a new one once in a while, but try a new recipe and cook meal together. Learn how to do it. It's kind of fun.
It is kind of fun. That kind of leads to the next one. When's the last time you did something, and drop a note below, when's the last time you did something that absolutely scared you? Like in this phase of life when you're pretty comfortable and, comfort zone might equal a little bit of sedentary seduction. So when's the last time you did something that really scared you? I played golf yesterday with a woman who is older than I am, and she last year trained and met her daughter, and they climbed Kilimanjaro.
Wow.
And she just won our senior ladies champion golf event. And it was so impressive to hear. She was terrified. She said, I don't ski well in altitude, let alone hike in altitudes. And she and her daughter decided to do it together. And did she make it all the way to the top? She did not. But she can say her feet were on Kilimanjaro and she gave it her best shot. And I just thought that was amazing. And I can't remember. I mean, I do a lot of things that are scary to me, and they're more putting myself in situations where I don't really know what I'm doing, and I try to adapt really quickly. When's the last time you did something that really scared yourself?
Really scared myself? Mm-hmm. Well, I mentioned earlier about the fire we had at our house.
Oh, and that was terrifying.
How we felt compelled to go thank the men at the firehouse. And it was a little intimidating for me to go down to that firehouse the first time and walk into the reception area. And I met Eileen, who sits at the front desk, told her about the fire in our house, and I wanted to meet some of the firemen to thank them. And I'm really nervous. Like, do they really care? Is this really something that happens on a regular basis? And I was really frightened about what reaction I might get. Like, who is this guy that wants to come in here? But they embraced me. They were so happy that I came down. They told me to come back. I've been back 3 times. So I was scared about that, but it actually worked out really well for me.
It's good to stretch yourself now and then and do some things that scare you.
All right,
I thought you were going to say you scheduled us for surf lessons this weekend.
No, I didn't.
Because you've been talking about that.
Yeah, that doesn't scare me. Well,
it does scare you. You never get in the ocean.
Okay, so that would scare me, but I'm not doing that.
Okay, never mind.
So I'm not.
I tried.
I'm not scheduling surf lessons. So the 7th habit that I think is something that we both do. I actually mentioned it a minute ago, but to track mini wins every day and reflect on that before you go to bed. It's just a good way, a good habit to wrap up the day and to get yourself in a good mindset to go to sleep and to think about some things we could do tomorrow.
Yeah, I like that.
And we like doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
You hear us talk a lot on this channel about habits. And maybe you've got some bad habits that you need to break yourself. We created a free download, is below, the 5 bad habits to stop while you're retired. So download that and use that as a tool to break some bad habits.
Let's take some questions from our audience. All right, first one. Hi, I'm Lisa. You talk about morning rituals without screens. Yeah, we just mentioned that. But what do you recommend for someone who wakes up already anxious? I use my phone to numb the nerves. Okay, bad habit. Right out of the back. Not judging, not being critical. But if you wake up nervous, I think the last thing you should do is open your phone. First thing you should do is go down the hall or downstairs, and I say this all the time, just sit and drink 12 ounces of water because you need to hydrate your body because you were just asleep. Then get out a journal or a piece of paper, and if you're nervous, write down what you're nervous about. If you can do it in one sentence, great. Reflect on it. How do I get out of this? What can I do? Spend some time being with yourself and your feelings, and then maybe think about opening your phone.
You know,
what do you think? I'm sure you have an idea.
Well, we have a daughter who struggles with anxiety, and she and I, for a year, she moved away to take a job far away, and she was very anxious in the mornings, waking up in a different city all by herself, and all the things: new job, new location, new apartment, new friends, new everything. And so she would wake up anxious. So I understand that feeling, Lisa, for sure. And one of the things that she and I decided to do was, I said, why don't you journal? And she said, I don't really know how. And that's valid too. So I said, why don't we pick a word each day? We'll pick a word and we'll journal about the word, and then we'll call each other and talk to each other about what our interpretation of the word is. So the word was selected the day before. She would wake up in the morning and she already knew what the word was. She'd grab her book and she would journal about her word. And we did it for 365 days. We had 365 words. And sometimes we took different perspectives on the words. Sometimes I would bring in a story from when I was little about a word that sparked something, and it was a memory she never heard me tell before. So it was a way that we could connect. She could calm her nerves and then kind of go about her day. It wasn't a long exercise, but I think it was a pretty impactful one for her.
I love that. I remember you did that. So instead of numbing your nerves with your phone, numb your nerves with some writing. Yeah. I think it'll make a huge difference. Okay. This is Gerald. I'm 68. You mentioned boredom as a tool, but how do I sit in silence when my inner critic gets louder the quieter it gets? So, it's like the answer isn't always going to be journaling, but it's going to be a lot, because if your inner critic is criticizing you, write down what you're critical about. Just write it all down and reread it and say, is this really who I am? And then write 3 positive affirmations about yourself. Even one. My morning routine is 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things I'm excited about for today, and 1 self-affirmation. I write those 7 things every single morning. I've been doing it for years, and it makes a difference. So your inner critic is definitely a problem. I need to find a way to change your inner critic's voice.
When I retired, I went to the University of Pennsylvania and took up some coursework and certification in applied positive psychology, which is really the art and science of understanding what's good about you and the things you do, not the things that are bad about you and the things you have to fix. There are a lot of books out there on applied positive psychology. I would suggest, grabbing one of them by Angela Duckworth, or, one of the Marty Seligman, any of the published applied positive psychology people, because it's really a big mindset change. Calming the voices in your head and making them like you instead is a big thing.
That's cool. I like that answer. All right, what's the next question?
The next one. Hi, I'm Tony, and I'm 65. I've always been a people pleaser. How do I embrace an awkward social moment each day when my whole life I've avoided discomfort? That would be a good one for you to answer.
Why is that?
Mark is a people pleaser.
I'm a people pleaser.
And he hates confrontation.
Hate confrontation. I run from it. So we don't have a lot of fights, but I spend a lot of time in my cave.
A lot of time?
Well,
wow.
Well, maybe more than you know, because I'm really better now at hiding it. I'm like, hey, sweetie, what's up? How was your day? And I'm actually in the cave shouting out with a happy voice. I am a people pleaser, and I don't like confrontation. What was an awkward social moment? How do I embrace an awkward social moment each day?
Practice the pause is what I would say. If there's an awkward moment and you don't know what to say and you are uncomfortable, sometimes silence does the heavy lifting. I tell my girls that all the time. I tell the women that I coach in corporate America all the time. Practice the pause. Get yourself together. There is no race through any conversation. And if you're not sure what to say and it does feel awkward or confrontational in any way, pause. Let silence do the heavy lifting.
And when the silence gets deafening, ask a question. My go-to to get out of trouble is to say something like, well, that's really interesting what you just said. Let me ask you this, to kind of get through it, because I'm nervous and I feel like the person I'm with, I wasn't able to please them, or I don't know how to please them. So I just ask a question and start moving the conversation down the road. So that's what I would do. One more question. Hi, Markham and Jody. I'm Sharon. You said to let curiosity decide your calendar, but I honestly don't know what excites me anymore. How do I rediscover that spark after decades of obligation? You have to start going back to your earlier days in life and start writing down what used to excite you. Was it a sport? Was it a hobby? Was it a person? Was it reading? Was it writing? Was it volunteering? Was it yard work? Was it serving others, bringing meals to people at night? You've got to get really curious and write down and start thinking about what used to make you happy doing that and find a way to bring that back into your life.
I think that's great.
You have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay.
If you enjoyed this video,
you're going to like this next one too. We'll get back and Jody will say we'll never get those hours back. We're getting really good at practicing what we preach. In our retirement course, we talk about the 3 types of friendships. Friends you invest in, friends that you maintain. You see them twice a year, that's enough. And then friends that you really need to let go.